So, welcome everyone. Let us start. So, if anyone would like to read the opening aspiration for us, that would be really nice.
I'll read. With boundless compassion and wisdom, I will work for the welfare of all. May we be free from hunger and discord and have joy and a world at peace.
Thank you. So, we'll start from where we left last time. So, we are on page number 23, the heroic heart, and we have been taking up verse 2. Maybe we can read the verse 2 again and then we refresh our memory as to what we have been reflecting. In my native land, waves of attachment to friends and kin surge. Hatred for enemies rage like fire. The darkness of stupidity, not caring what to adopt or avoid, thickens. To abandon my native land is the practice of a Bodhisattva. So last time we stopped at page number 23. This paragraph, I think we had covered, touching upon, and we have to take it forward. So just to have an overlap, it would be nice if one of us can maybe read first this paragraph, which we have touched upon, and then furthering from the darkness of stupidity. So if anyone feels ready, you can please read this bit for all of us.
Shall I read?
Yeah, please go ahead.
We can try to see things anew. It is important to look at our mind and to start clearing out a lot of the junk and debris which we carry around with us as if we were in an old attic. We sort through all the junk and think, why on earth did I keep all that? We can start throwing stuff out and cleaning up a bit, especially concerning our habitual responses. Because the Lojong teaching is all about how to cultivate skillful responses in place of our habitual unskillful responses. We need to look and question and see without pretending. We need to cultivate inner change. Where we see something in our responses which is not helpful, which is negative, that is our path, that is our practice to change and transform. Everything can be changed. The darkness of stupidity refers to the fact that the whole problem is that we just don't see. Why do we get so obsessively attached to other people? Why do we get angry with people who don't do what we want them to do? Why do we keep doing and saying the wrong things when we know it is stupid? Why do we not do the things we know would be helpful? Ultimately, it is because of this darkness of our own unknowing, but also because of our habitual inertia. It is so much easier to go along with the way we have always done things. It takes such a lot of self-awareness and effort to change. Shall I continue or stop?
No, we take a pause here. Yeah. Thank you. So we can maybe take some time to reflect over what was just read. Yeah, any thoughts are welcome.
Even as I was reading,
Mm.
I mean, of course, I was laughing at myself, right? Because you read sentences like, "Why do we get angry with people who don't do what we want them to do?" And I couldn't help but, laugh at myself because I could recognize myself doing that so many times, and that's why I even paused few lines later when it said because of our habitual inertia. It's darkness of our unknowing, and it's just this inertia where we know, I mean, because you have read enough, you have heard enough, and but you pretend to, or you, or at least I spend my days in the not knowing, even though I know. And it's difficult. I mean, I see myself there, this inertia and the darkness of our own unknowing, even though I feel I know, but I don't, I pretend to not know. And I mean, I'll say that, I don't know what the way out is, but I don't feel good saying that though.
Yeah. I think it's a very good baby step ahead if we can laugh, just like what you shared, recognizing our own stupidity. And it's a good baby step ahead, yeah, for all of us, whenever we can laugh over our stupidities. Because most of the times we are stuck uh, taking them very seriously. And then even that doesn't help when we take them too seriously. That again creates the guilt and shame and all that trap. So it's really a good step. I think Mother also talks about it, that to be able to see and recognize a mistake and shed it off and laugh about it. We may not be able to correct it that quickly, but it's a good step in a good direction. And as I think we were touching upon last time, if I'm not wrong, that there is a delight that we take. And I was wondering that, like a same person, you think of that person, it like, maybe hate comes up or some dislike comes up. And we don't know, we don't want to really dislike that person, but that dislike is there. You can't, I don't know, maybe you feel like helpless what to do about it. And it must be then our this inertia only. We're stuck in that groove of dislike, maybe over what happened in the past or whatever. And you are unable to like that person. Have you, I'm not sure all of us, I'm sure all of us may have felt about that different people in our lives. But as if you're not able to like that person. And I was wondering over it today, that I don't know what, maybe the best thing is to not to think about, as like Mother says, that if you can't think good for a person, better not to think about it. So I would, I think that really helps, because if, yeah, I'm sorry, there was some connection thing at my end. So I was just sharing that what is the best then we can do about in such a situation where the moment you think about a person, owing to some connection with the past, of course, some dislike or even at times hate may come up. So knowing that you don't want to think of like that, knowing, like Shreya was sharing, that there is a knowing, it's not that the knowing mentally is not there, that you don't want to think like that, you know that there is no truth in what you are thinking, and yet that dislike is there, you can't somehow transmute suddenly into love or like. So the best thing is then to not think about it, because uh, we want to keep the temple clean, and that's what Jetsunma was sharing here, to cultivate skillful responses in place of our habitual unskillful responses. So if that person's image comes to my head, or if the person is in front of me, and habitual response is to towards dislike and hate, or maybe speaking out something which may regret later, so the better is to, like, maybe, kind of keep a blank, knowing that whatever I'm thinking, the storylines, there is no truth in that. But of course, the moment we enter into the storyline, we are just drenched in that drain water. Yeah. And I think this is also beautiful, although it seems very simple, that where we see something in our responses which is not helpful, which is negative, that's our path. That's where the work is required. Otherwise, those relationships which are really good, and we have harmony and people understand each other, there not much of progress will happen. Progress may still happen, but exponential progress usually happens at places where we get stuck from time to time. So it's a good thing. If we are getting stuck, then it means a sudden spurt has to happen. So to change and transform uh, those places which are negative and vicious, there the practice is there. Yeah. So just like we clean our houses, it's important to look at our mind and to start clearing it out. And yeah, so we have to just, I believe, honor ourselves, our inner sanctuary, that much, that no, I don't really want to keep all this garbage in my head and my emotions, because I want to honor myself. I want to keep the temple clean. So Sri Aurobindo talks about it. He says that if you wish to install a divine presence in the temple has to be kept clean. So then I have to be vigilant of any garbage that is entering, which is all the storylines in the head about all the people and things that happened in my life. They are not true. They may be still there hanging around, but they are not true. They are not true. So I better not ruminate over it and regurgitate over it, because I don't know, I don't see clearly. I have distortions in my perception. So I can't trust those storylines. So this is the new paragraph that we have to take today. The darkness of stupidity refers, I think this is referring to the verse 2, where in the beginning we read, the darkness of stupidity Not caring what to adopt or avoid thickens. So this is what we have been reading here. Yeah. The darkness of stupidity refers to the fact that the whole problem is that we just don't see. And in Buddhism, this comes up again and again, that we don't see things as they are. We see them through a filter and curtain of our own interpretations and perceptions. And first distortion happens at the level of senses, like touch, feel, taste, sense. First distortion happens there. Then the second distortion is how the mind is interpreting whatever is entering through vision, hearing, touch, taste, smell. And we know that it's like really a distortion in our lens, so we can't really trust what we are seeing. So that's a curtain. Darkness of stupidity refers to the fact that whole problem is that we just don't see. Why do we get so obsessively attached to other people? So this I was talking with Shreya today also, that the difference between love and attachment. So we don't have to shun away our relationships, we don't have to live an ascetic life, but the thing is to let things come and let things go. I think that's where our practice lies, because when things are good we want it even more and more and more, so we get addicted to it, and that's where like attachment happens, like one day we had a good time, and the second day then we want to repeat it, and the third day mind wants to repeat it again, and then we want to get married to, to keep repeating it all over, and then we realize that, oh my god, where is all that? So story of our lives, so, and that's what we have to learn, you know, to let go of that attached stickiness and to let things come and let things go as they come and go. Why do we get angry with people who don't do what we want them to do? Again, I think story of our lives. If only we can be unsure of our own opinions and ideas, then there would not be much need for anger, because anger is wherever I am sure and certain about what I am thinking is right, and whatever I want from this situation is right. That is where I usually get angry, when that is not done. And in our interactions and relationships or at workplaces also, our ways of behaving, we all have a knowing within which tells us whether it is the right way or the wrong way. All of us, if we take a pause for a moment, we can understand, we discern whether it is the right way to work or right way to speak or think. But we keep repeating that, and that's because of this, we are stuck in the habitual grooves, like how this record player is keeps playing in the loop, again and again. So why do we keep doing and saying the wrong things when we know it is stupid? In the hindsight we may say that, oh, why do I act like that again, again and again, again and again, but as if we don't want to change it. So that's where we have to become conscious that no, this is really harmful for me and the other person. I need to, ought to work upon it. Why do we not do the things we know would be helpful? In terms of that, I think uh, many a times we know that giving some time for my own quiet adventures or my quiet time would be helpful for me. Taking some distance off in our intimate relationships is always, rejuvenating, helpful. But still, we don't do that. We keep ourselves in one locked position, which creates more and more suffering for all the people who are involved. So why do we not do the things which we know would be helpful? Why? Ultimately, it is because of this darkness of our own unknowing, but also because of our habitual inertia. So habit is a big thing, Habit is like whatever we repeat, whatever we practice, that's what we become. So if I practice unskillful responses, they become a part of me. And if now I practice looking at unskillful responses and cleaning them out of my, being, and to cultivate skillful responses, then that becomes a practice, that. So what do we want with our life? I think that's the question. Now that I have this precious, so-called, masters have said that it's precious. I may not really truly understand why is it precious, but how do I want to live this life? For how long will I continue to live in poison every day, in and out? So I think there has to be what in Hindi Kabirji would call chetna, to wake up to your being. That what enemies am I harboring and nurturing in my inner sanctuary? So ultimately, it comes back to what do I want for myself? Knowing that we don't know whether we have the next day or not. Today, how is the day I want to spend today? What are the things I want to give importance to, and what are the things then I want to shed off immediately as soon as they arrive. So knowing that we are stuck in habits, and the only way out of those habits is to become conscious whenever I am going back in the same loop. Today, something was happening, and uh, I saw myself uh, being sucked in a older pattern again, and of course it was uneasy and it was bringing a lot of pain. And immediately I said no, I don't want. I had to become conscious of that, and I said no, I don't want to go there again. I don't want to do this torture on myself again. And immediately, as if like like mother says that like falling dust, you have to shed off your past every moment, and just with a bit of pinch of humor, and laughing at oneself. And it was just like as if a cloud was just lifted over. I didn't have to do much. And otherwise this could have taken weeks, and at times earlier, when it used to happen, I would have to cancel many sessions to go through the whole process, because it took a long time before I could stabilize my base within myself. But this time when it was happening and the cloud was coming, I said to myself that do I really want this for myself? And I said no, I don't want it. So I think that self honoring, that no, what do we want for our own self, if we have lived through that enough. Yeah, as mother says that we have to be disgusted with our old self, older self, if we want to step into something new. So I have a very bad habit of doing a lot of blah 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 even when nobody is sharing, but you are welcome to not to listen to me and unmute and share. Okay, yeah, that's okay. You didn't miss anything. Yeah, anyone? Anything to add on?
Yeah, the thought pattern which you said,
Mhm.
I go through it every day. I mean, बहुत सारी चीजें आती है दिमाग में, अरे ऐसा क्यों बोला उन्होंने, ऐसा क्यों बोला, and it's actually not going. To be honest, very uneasy I feel. And I also think, will I ever forget all those things?
I think parallelly what mother says, no, when mother talks about aim, having a good aim in life, a higher aim in life, I felt that that really helps, because if we want to go forward from the past, which sticks like anything, and it pulls us down again and again, those stories may come up and they're pulling you down, they're wanting your attention. Then, if parallelly at the same time I have something intense in which I can absorb myself, to me that has really, really helped. Something higher which clarifies you and detoxifies you. Without that, I don't know how it is possible to let go of this pull of past, even the earlier hour or yesterday or the day before or many years ago, whatever. So something in which I can immerse myself fully, some work uh, where I can put passionately myself, that I believe is like something which really, really is required along with this inner work. It's a part of that inner work, because without engaging ourselves, see, we have to be engaged somewhere. So without engaging myself somewhere meaningfully, it's very, very challenging how to let go of that past that pulls you again and again towards itself. So giving oneself some higher aim, some meaningful purpose, which helps. Like I often use this uh, thing. Yes, Manmeet.
Please complete, Monica. I can
Yeah.
share after this.
Okay, okay. So just last point that I wanted to share, that whenever, we are talking about de-addictions, like if I am addicted to cigarette or alcohol, some drugs or relationships. So whenever we talk about de-addicting, we also talk about rehabilitation. So if, for example, cigarettes are in front of me and I keep on saying, no, 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 I am de-addicting. So no, I won't drink, I won't drink, I won't have, that won't work. Parallelly, what they do in rehabilitation centers is they engage the people in some meaningful activities, like some hours of social work, some hours of gardening, some meditation, some this, some that, some creative expression. So that one has a way, an outlet to channel energies. So if I only keep on saying, no, this thought pattern, I don't want to think, I don't want to, like, so that's not going to work, because it's sitting right in front. It's not gone anywhere. It's so concrete because I believe in it so heavily. So parallelly, something has to be there which is very challenging and absorbing. And I have found that whenever I wanted to let go of my own past, which pulls me again and again, some entanglements which have a grip over me still, every time what has helped me again, in the limited window that I can see, I'm so sure everything else has helped also, is to engage myself in some activity which really absorbs me, and that becomes like a ladder, like a step ahead in my journey. So it opens me up to something different, something vaster, something more expansive than my little self. That has always helped when I want to let go and shed off the past, which pulls again and again. So yeah, just wanted to throw that off here. Yes, Amanmeet, please go ahead.
I'm not sure I'll be able to word it because that's exactly has been my realization, and even more strongly in the past few days, that it's myself who's interfering in my spiritual journey. And I wrote to Taru also yesterday. Um, I want to lose myself. I've realized it. So I'm feeling repulsed and disgusted, got it. But I'm just not able to shed it, leave it. And I have been writing in my gratitude journal that make me fall in love with something so badly that I lose myself. I guess that's why we feel so calm when we are painting, right? We lose a sense of self. And my struggle is also that the moment that painting or that write-up gets over, the self again emerges. And I very clearly see it. So I want to then share it. I want to be appreciated for it or said whatever. So that is again the self which has risen up again. And it's not that the journey is not moving forward. I can see it's moving forward. It requires so much of patience and faith again. And I wonder, half of my life is already over. When will be that stage when the self will not rise again? The painting finishes and I am there in that realm. I'm able to catch the self again and again, much faster now, yet it's there. I want to kill it. I want to murder it, strangle it. Sometimes it makes me so angry. And even though I'm saying, so Taru once asked me this question कि तुम ये जो कहती हो कि ये पोएम मैंने नहीं लिखी, मुझे यूनिवर्स ने दी है, मैं एक माध्यम हूँ इसको लिखने का, ऐसी कहती हो, मानती हो? I said, no, I really believe that. But then I realized कि जब कुछ कर नहीं पाती हूँ तो उसके लिए खुद को जिम्मेवार ठहराती हूँ. तो सेल्फ तो अभी भी है. तो सेल्फ तो जिंदा खड़ा है. अब आंखें भी नहीं मीची जाती, झूठ भी नहीं बोला जाता कि नहीं 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 है. Even when I'm trying to be kind and loving to the people around me, it's my inner ego, my inner self, which is wanting to be that kind and loving human being. I want to be the kindness. I don't want to be a kind human being. I want to become kindness. I want to become love rather than being called a loving human being. Because called loving human being is sheer ego.
Yeah. एक क्वेश्चन है इसी बात पे, बिकॉज सिंस यू सेड दैट आई वांट टू किल इट, दिस ईगो दैट राइजेस अप अगेन एंड अगेन एंड दैट फ्रस्ट्रेट्स अस इवन मोर. नहीं, आप मारोगे तो उसको जो हो, है ना. इफ आई आस्क यू दैट यहाँ पे ना एक आदमी खड़ा है, यहाँ पे मेरे कौन से राइट तरफ, यहाँ पे मेरे एक आदमी खड़ा है, उसको मार दो, तो आप बोलोगे कि कहाँ है? तो दिखना तो चाहिए, होना तो चाहिए, it must be graspable. So ego is a falsehood. The sense of separate self is a falsehood. We believe in it, we think it is there, but it is not there. तो आप उसको मार नहीं सकते हो. The only thing that can be done is, there are two ways, and of course not only two ways, we can make use of so many tools on the way to go close to it and to see its true nature. That is a time taking process, that to go close to the ego self and to see that, oh my god, there is no sense of separate self, there is no ego, so maru kisko, there is no enemy. What was I preparing for, for this war towards the enemy all my life? Because there is no enemy. It was just a figment of my imagination. Or the other way is to be vigilant, because when I'm vigilant and when I see the ripple of this separate sense of self arising, which you rightly said that when one is lost in painting, it's not there, but suddenly it arises up and wants that, oh, I did that and I want the name and the fame, so it is a reason. The moment it is arising, that's why Kabir ji talks about vigilance. And he talks about, and be sure that there is no way that we are going to lose it very soon, so you can actually rest. There is no need to get frustrated. He says, मन को मृतक जान के मत कीजे विश्वास, साधु तब तक भय करे जब तक पिंजर में सांस। सो वो कह रहा है कि अगर आपको फीलिंग भी आने लग गई है ना कि आप ईगोलेस हो गए हो, भैया आपकी ईगो तो डिसॉल्व हो गई, उस पर विश्वास नहीं करने का है। मन को मृतक जान के मत कीजिए विश्वास। साधु तब तक भय करे जब तक पिंजर में सांस। As long as we have breath in the body, the sense of separate self is going to be there. We can be certain about it. But the only thing I can do, one of the things that I can do is to be vigilant that the moment it arises and asks for something, like dictates me something, that look, this is what you do now, manipulative demands, I ignore it. Just that seeing is enough. Because वो जो seeing है हमारे पास, the knowing capacity that we have, the seeing that looks at the ego self arising, that itself is Shakti, it is consciousness coupled with force. Chit Shakti, Sri Aurobindo and mother name is Chit Shakti. So it's not just seeing, it has empowerment. तो जब हम अपने एंगर को देख रहे होते हैं, when I'm looking at my anger face to face, I'm not doing anything about it, it's very powerful. You are seeing the ripple of anger arising and you are just seeing it, like just nakedly staring at it. That itself has the power of transmutation. If only I can stabilize myself in that seeing. So with the ego self rising also, the moment one sees the ego self arising, in just that seeing, the blank staring at the ego self, things are taken care of. किसी को भी मारने की जरूरत नहीं है और ना ही कोई मरने वाला है, बिकॉज कोई खड़ा नहीं है ना सामने. देयर इज नो एनिमी who will we kill. And there is a purpose to ego self. So if we read Integral Education of Mother Sri Aurobindo, we actually, nothing is wrong in this world. Mother says nothing is wrong in the world. Things are not just at their right place. So ego self has its proper place. ईगो सेल्फ होने की क्या जरूरत हुई? बिकॉज अर्लियर इट वॉज जस्ट सोसाइटी, पेरेंट्स टेलिंग मी, ओके दिस इज वॉट यू डू, दिस इज द पाथ यू टेक, all of us do this, you also do that. So yes. So see, a basic unhappiness, again we can go deeper into it. A basic unhappiness is because we have lost the true connect with ourselves. चाहे कितने भी सुंदर पर्सनैलिटी हम हो, any personality on the way is not our true personality. And you can be very glad about it, क्योंकि within this lifetime it does not happen for every person that no matter how beautiful personality one may be, he will be given a chance to actually transcend that very personality. It does not happen with everyone in this very lifetime. Throughout a lifetime, I can remain one personality. We have seen this happen for many people. So the very fact that you are now becoming unhappy with the older self is actually going to be a beautiful beginning, that one has to now transcend completely this older self, because that is not making you contented. So like Sri Aurobindo says, through our stumblings, the world is perfected. And our errors are his steps on the way. So nothing is going wrong. Be very, very certain about it. Unhappiness is actually like that void that all of us have. Now that void is not fulfilling by anything. Isn't that beautiful? Earlier, an ice cream would do the thing, a nature walk would do the thing, a nice chat with a friend would do the thing, you know. Earlier, some name, fame, recognition would do the thing. But now nothing is helping. That void is so big, the void of unhappiness and incompletion. And mother says it's in very this kind of opportune moments that you take a leap slowly Because without divine, nothing can fulfill that void that one feels. So this actually can be a step towards a new beginning. That nothing of the older self, the patterns, the joys, the happinesses, they are not fulfilling. You can't help it. So if you look at it from a spiritual perspective, it actually is a beautiful thing happening. That it's not making sense. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. And this cannot sustain since everything is fleeting. So this unhappiness very soon has to wither away into shaping into something new.
Monica, can I say something?
Yeah.
This makes perfect sense, but there is also a lot of fear. Fear to old self. I mean, I have seen, I get scared and then I go back to the old self. So on a day when this void is too large, I try to fill it with my old patterns. आज किसी दोस्त से मिलना हो जाए, भीख मांगने बैठ जाती हूँ, कुछ हो जाए तो शायद वक्त कट जाए. And somewhere also I don't want, I think something is still holding me back to my old self. It's like that example you gave last time, that you're pregnant and there's going to be a baby on the way, but you don't know the baby's face or whether he's going to be alive. So that's why the fear. So I'm saying I haven't enjoyed the intercourse. I want to have more intercourse. I don't want to be pregnant as of now. And I can also see that till I keep holding to my old self, I'm not helping myself. That void to be filled by the grace and the divine and the universal energy will not happen till I'm holding to that old self. But that fear makes me go back to it again and again. And that greed, अभी मुझे थोड़ा और करना है, अभी तो मैंने किया ही क्या है, अभी तो जीना समझ आया था, अभी तो मुझे enjoy करना है. I don't know
नहीं,
if it makes
नहीं तो ऐसा क्यों लग रहा है कि अभी अगर जीना आया था तो अब जो होने वाला है उसमें जीना, ऐसा क्यों? वाई इज दैट अ presupposition, pre-assumption that what has to unfold will give you less of contentment?
Yeah, you're right. I'm visualizing it to be like that. I'm visualizing it to be like that because किसी से connect नहीं हो पाता, किसी से बात करने का मन नहीं करता, तो लगता है कि क्या होगा फिर, अकेले रह जाओगे. ठीक है, खुद के साथ रहोगे, खुद के साथ तो अभी भी हूँ, अपनी कंपनी अच्छी लगती है, बट क्या वो खुद से रहना है, खाने पीने में कोई इंटरेस्ट, अगर वो मजा नहीं आएगा.
अब आप देखो ना, दिस इज ऑल इमेजिनेशन अबाउट समथिंग विच इज येट टू अनफोल्ड, which has no truth in it, and that is why fear is there, है ना? When we go
Right.
into a jungle, when we go into a forest, we are never afraid of the unknown. Actually, we are afraid of known dangers. We are afraid कोई tiger खा जाएगा, we are afraid कोई python आ जाएगा. So all that we have in our head is what is creating fear. Fear is not of the unknown, and this is, I'm not the first person saying it. I'm just repeating what masters have already said, that we are never afraid of the unknown, because unknown तो unknown है ना, उसमें तो हमें पता ही नहीं होना क्या है. No, unknown is means unknown. I don't know. How can you be afraid of something you don't know? So if I am afraid, definitely I have something in my head which I am believing it's true. So the moment I'm entering the jungle, what am I believing it's true? That there are tigers in the jungle and there are tribals in the jungle and they're going to eat me up raw, and so all kind of things create fear. And we are talking here of a new unfolding of life which is actually happening for each one of us each moment. If only we empty our cup of all our imaginations. वही तो नहीं होता, उसी से तो चिपचिपाहट है, दैट हमें पता है जी क्या होने वाला है भाई। तो भगवान कहते हैं द डिवाइन इज अ वेरी कंपैशनेट पेशेंट वन। सो ही सेड भैया तुम्हें पता है ना, ठीक है, गो अहेड। सो दैट कीप्स ऑन रिपीटिंग इन अवर लाइफ अंटिल we are ready with a empty cup. Divine is not in a hurry. For us it's a hurry because human life is a limited lifetime, 80 years maximum, for some of us lesser. आपने अभी खुद बोला that आधी लाइफ तो निकल चुकी है, तो द क्वेश्चन इज कि भैया आगे फिर बढ़ने दो। खाली करके बैठो कप, खाली भी नहीं हो रहा। तो फिर डिवाइन क्या करता है? डिवाइन, दैट्स व्हाई वी लिसन अबाउट ऑल द नेम्स ऑफ द डिवाइन। करुणामय, full of compassion, divine compassion, absolute patience, not in a hurry. उसको पता है अगर इस लाइफ टाइम में नहीं हुआ तो अगली में हो जाएगा, भैया कौन सी हरी है ना। हरी तो हमको है because we have a limited time frame in this lifetime, and that kills us. It makes us suffer if we are disconnected from our true unfolding of life. For us it's a hurry because it's a pain in the ass to live like this. So who is stopping me to empty my cup and to wait with an empty cup? Because wherever fear is there, I can be sure it's not an empty cup. I'm filling up the new moment yet to arrive with all kinds of things that I already know about life, and I think that that's it, that can happen. Nothing new is going to happen. So divine says, okay. So we continuously repeat one single tape gets repeated over and over again, unless one day I say, okay, now I'm ready, enough of bullshit or garbage, now I'm going to shift myself from within. Then things change. There is no hurry in eternity. That's the problem. So we can keep doing this pendulum like movement, like wanting to be ready and then taking ourselves back and then wanting to be ready, taking ourselves. We can actually do this for a whole lifetime. And as you said correctly in the beginning, that I am the one blocking my own unfolding. We are the one blocking our own unfolding because the will is with us. We have been given this free will. The very fact that it is free is that the divine will not force his way inside ourselves. He would say, अच्छा अभी भी पसंद है वो वाली चीजें, okay, go ahead. So as long as the older stuff is bringing me delight, I will not be ready to empty my cup for a different unfolding, which I don't know what it will bring. So इसका मतलब अभी disgust पूरा नहीं आया है, आने दो, take your own course. And for each of us, we have our own courses. We have to honor. जब पूरा disgust आ जाएगा ना कि बस यार अब नहीं जाना उस रास्ते, then you will wait with an empty cup. और चाहे खाली बैठे हो आप, बिल्कुल एम्प्टी होके बैठे हो, कुछ नहीं हो रहा लाइफ में, कोई मूवमेंट नहीं है, फिर भी आपको पुराने रास्ते जाना मंजूर नहीं है, then it means I am now ready. कि अब कुछ भी हो जाए बस पुराने रास्ते नहीं जाना, so you're waiting. Like in love there is a lot of patience. It happens in the beginning when we have even distorted forms of love like infatuations and all, these lust oriented forms of love. Even there we see that lots of patience is there. So if I am in love with unfolding of life and I want to honor my life, then I will have no problems sitting with an empty slate for as long as it takes, because now I know, that those older ways gave me nothing, brought me harm, misery, suffering, and I don't want to tread that older way. I'm happy to remain blank and wait. पात्रता की बात होती है, whenever we talk about any divine grace, we talk about patrata. And by patrata, we mean the patra, is coming from this, like a container, a receptacle. Is it ready? Is it worth the divine grace that's going to, dawn into it? So we make ourselves ready. We all are making ourselves ready. But for each one of us, the time is different. तो वो जो पेशेंस है हमारे में, जो हमारे में स्थिरता है, स्थित प्रज्ञता है, दैट इज द प्रिपरेशन ऑफ द कंटेनर. दैट अब कुछ भी हो जाए, अब पुराने रास्ते तो भैया हमसे ना जाया जाएगा. So that is how I am creating the sanctity of that container in which something new will get the space to manifest. It's a toiling process for each one of us. Be sure that it's not a very shortcut, easy process. Painful, at times painful in the beginning, especially painful. And slowly we find our way that it can be done with cheerfulness also. But in the beginning, as we are leaving our older ways, it is especially painful because new has not yet come and the older has not yet fully left. So it's a very like Trishanku type condition. Sri Aurobindo talks about this in Savitri, that how the divine wants to knock at our door every new moment, but we keep saying, no, 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 abhi nahi, baad mein aana, just like we say a beggar, कि अभी अगले डोर पे जाओ भैया, बाद में आना. So that's what we say, because we are like lollipops. We love our older lives, no matter how abusive they may have been. So इतनी आसानी से वो lollipops छूटती नहीं है. That's the thing. So that's why we have to wait for that disgust to happen. That अब तो चाहे खाली पेट बैठना पड़े बट लॉलीपॉप मुंह में नहीं जाएगी. वो स्टेज आने में थोड़ा तकलीफ भी होती है, समय भी लगता है. It's funny, our stories. But I think we can be really glad that this is happening. We are witness to this in this very lifetime. I think that's really very empowering. That wow, if within this lifetime I got disgusted with my older self, wow, something new can arise. So that really, really is beautiful for whoever, and it's happening. It's really beautiful. And we can be sure that the grace is with us. The one who chooses the infinite, Sri Aurobindo says, has been chosen by the infinite. So since nothing is fulfilling anymore that much, then it means that we are marching towards the infinite, and nothing short of that would suffice. So that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, thank you. So see, what we have been, I think, implicitly touching upon, that it is so much easier to go along with the way we have always done things. क्यों? क्योंकि उसकी आदत है. It is familiar. Unknown अभी familiar नहीं है. Emptiness familiar नहीं है. But जो चाहे बेकार भी है, उसकी बस आदत है, तो वो करे जा रहे हैं. Habit is a big thing. So it is so much easier to go along the way we have always done things. It takes such a lot of self-awareness and effort to change. And we would not change if we are not disgusted with ourselves. No one would change. Why would I change myself? Sab theek hi to hai. So the disgust that arises, or the frustration that arises, has its purpose. It has its right place. Otherwise, who would bother to change? Like if I have to, clean my house and things are okay, nothing is smelling bad, who would care? But if I smell something which is not a good kind of a smell, then I'm compelled to check that what's wrong, what's rotting where. So disgust has its own purpose. So I think maybe we can take this much up also today, these two paragraphs. Yeah, so if anyone would like to read it out, would be nice.
Yeah, I'll read. Even though we know that going along the way we have been going doesn't lead to anything that we want and just creates more problems, still there's this heaviness when it comes to actually making the effort to change. This is like a thick fog which comes into the mind and prevents us from seeing with clarity what could be done differently, what would be skillful and what is unskillful. Even if we have read about it 1,000 times, we still find ourselves caught up in the same old habitual responses. To change physical habits is a challenge, but to change mental and emotional habits is even much more of a challenge. Nonetheless, the good thing is that it is possible. Nowadays, neuroscientists are busy mapping out the brain, and the good news is that they say that we can indeed create new neural pathways. We can also slowly close down old neural pathways. Our minds and behaviors are not set in stone. The brain is quite pliable, it can change. It is like a river that flows in a certain direction but can be diverted somewhere else. Likewise, we can make new channels, we can create new pathways. Imagine a forest with a familiar path that we always use. After a while, this path becomes well worn, compacted, and clear, so we know exactly where we are going. But now we don't want to travel on that road anymore. For instance, somebody says something unkind and we get all upset, angry, and hurt, which is just the ego being sad that the people don't love it. Shall I go ahead?
Yeah, I think maybe you can, yes, you can finish this one also. It's in
Okay.
continuation. Yes.
Yeah. We don't want to go on that unprofitable road that doesn't lead anywhere. We want to go on this new road of skillful responses, but there isn't yet a road. We have never before tried this new road of thinking.
Yeah.
I'll, I'll finish this paragraph.
Yes, you can
Okay,
finish
okay,
this.
okay. Well, thank you. I am glad that you are so horrible because now I can practice patience. We don't have a road in our brain for that one. So we have to create one. We start to go along this new road, but then the grass springs back and it doesn't look like we ever went that way before. But if we keep going along this same path every day, eventually we will create a road.
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, it is actually so true.
Hmm.
मतलब कुछ चेंज लाने में तकलीफ क्या, बहुत ज्यादा तकलीफ होती है. एंड समटाइम्स व्हेन आई फील दैट अनईज, आई फील चलो ठीक है, पहले जैसा था वैसे ही रहने दो. आई मीन, डोंट वांट टू चेंज आल्सो समटाइम्स.
Hmm. Yeah.
सो नाइस.
Yes. So I think this is the what do we say? Like the reward, the reward for us. Why would I create something new? And that is why usually I would not change myself unless faced with a challenge or a problem in my life. People don't change themselves so easily. So we only begin to work upon ourselves when we are faced with a challenge, either with an illness, which is now threatening my life, or with a relationship issue, with some stress, or maybe some stress that has now started affecting my body. Only then our attention comes back to ourselves and we think that, okay, now maybe let me change some of my habits, whether it's mental, emotional habits or physical habits. Otherwise, why would we change? When everything is okay, why would we change? So I think this is very lucrative, that it's an unprofitable road. So the older ways, the mental patterns, thought patterns, feeling patterns, which are not benefiting me now, which just bring poison in my life. Haven't I walked that path enough? And haven't I poisoned myself enough? So that is the charm that attracts me towards this new path. That the other path which I am now creating, which as you were sharing is very difficult, because it is me, I have to walk upon it again and again every time, stop myself from slipping into the older path, and every time take the newer path, so that that becomes a road and the grass now grows on the older ones which were non-profitable. So that takes time, and that also takes, like, I now have to honor my inner sanctuary. I now want to really nurture this being that I have been gifted with, and I want to keep it clean. So no poison would be allowed. So all the paths which are non-profitable, I will be happy to leave. And that is where heroism is needed. That's why the book is called Heroic Heart, because it takes courage, but it also takes a lot of love. Love is synonymous with courage. So because I love the being that is granted to me, I will do anything, no matter how much strength it may require, to honor it and to keep it nice and tidy and clean. So फिर हम करते हैं, wherever there is love, then we do, no matter how difficult it may be. Yeah. But first I have to get convinced that the older paths are not profitable, because I still see some promise in them. Then I will not be able to leave them. So if I still see that, oh, if I follow that thought and feeling pattern, my work gets done and I am manipulative and I'm liking that manipulation, so then I would not leave it. But if now I am getting disgusted with the manipulation and calculation, then I will be happier to take the newer path. So this heaviness is the resistance, the heaviness she was talking here. Still, there is a heaviness when it comes to actually making the effort to change. This is the older self in me resisting the change. This is the inertia, you know. Like in physics, we have inertia. Like if a boat is standing at the anchored with, at the shore, then initially we need a push, like dhakka marna padta hai, to make it running. But once it is running, then it has a momentum. So in physics, whatever we read in physics is applicable to us because we are also part of physics. So whatever groove I am set in, to push me out of that groove requires a dhakka. Now dhakka can be in form of an illness, dhakka can be in form of a relationship dhakka, a workplace dhakka, or any kind of life dhakka. So many dhakkas are there. Once that dhakka pushes me into some different momentum, then I can, follow that path with certain ease. But in the beginning, when I'm leaving my older grooves, then that dhakka is there because there is an inertia. I'm settled in that groove. I don't want to move. So is in physics, is in me. That inertia and the momentum. So still there is this heaviness, which is the resistance of my older self, that because of his inertia, it is settled in. I'm settled in those grooves. And it is like a thick fog which comes into the mind and prevents us from seeing with clarity what could be done differently. And we all have faced that thick fog, I'm sure, which says no, abhi nahi kar sakte, abhi kuch samajh nahi aa raha. It's like that, abhi to mujhe kuch samajh nahi aa raha, abhi baad mein dekhenge isko. It's almost like that also at times. Yeah. So even if we read about it 1,000 times, we still find ourselves caught up in the same habitual responses because of this resistance of the old self, which is stuck in its grooves and does not want to move. And that is what billions of us will face, because that is the design. That is the design of the universe right now. That to change anything requires a lot of dhakka and effort to move it from inertia. Yeah, but I think Jetsunma also shares with us the good news that we don't have to remain the same way as we are right now, that we can also work upon creating new neural pathways. And ample amount of YouTube talks are available where they say that whatever we see, you know, the brain is understanding what I am believing about it. So if in front of me I have a sense of smell, like if I'm standing next to a drain water pipe and it's smelling very badly, now if I smell badly and if I give an indicator to the brain that, oh my god, it's a very bad smell, run away, run away, so the brain takes it that as that. And if with the same drain water pipe I become neutral and I don't pass on that information to the brain that I have to run away, then the brain stays neutral. And it's very well researched now, in neuroscience, that we create our own reality. We don't have to have such intense aversions and attractions as we create for ourselves. So that person who is in front of me, who earlier I used to hate or dislike, now that person may be in front of me and I give no reaction to my brain, right? Like a neutrality. And that is how I create a new neural pathway, because that benefits me, that benefits the other person also. So if I can't be overtly loving, at least I can be neutral. I think that itself is enough. Yeah. Yeah, so I think let us not rush into it. The last page we will take maybe in the next time when we are starting with verse number 3. We can finish it then. Yeah. Yeah, so any last comments? Anyone? Any reflections?
Yeah, that concept of Dwij that's
Hmm?
spoken on Upanishad's commentary, the twice born.
Hmm.
That first we are born, in the physical as a physical body, and then when we are born into spirituality, the rite of passage. I don't know what term it was, but again and again that term kept coming to me when
Hmm.
you were reading. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take one last moment, sharing all the merit with all sentient beings. May all of us have peace in our hearts and simplicity in our minds, and lots of joy and progress in life. Okay, thank you. Thank you to stay till the end. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.